Hey, what's up guys? In this video, we're going to be creating a Marvel Legends X-Men display using these figures that you see here. Now, I previously only had this Wolverine figure and Beast because I had purged my Marvel Legends collection and the X-Men were some of the casualties. But since watching X-Men 97, I've been super hype on X-Men, so I've bought all of these X-Men 97 figures, and now we have enough to make a little mini X-Men display, which I'll be creating along with you guys in this video. Now, I also have these two X-Men, the Astonishing Cyclops and the Astonishing Emma Frost, but I don't think I'm going to use them. I kind of just want to wait until they finish out the Astonishing X-Men team and then create a separate display. So we're going to be working on this shelf right here, which I have just finished clearing off and dusting, so it is ready. Now, the Avengers shelf has fallen, unfortunately, but that's okay. We can make creating a Marvel Legends Avengers shelf video eventually. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so we're going to start with the flying characters. We've got Jean, Nightcrawler, and Storm. Now, with Jean, I always like to get her into the telepath, like the classic telepath pose with her hand up to her temple. And I definitely like having her on a display stand, like floating like this, because I think it looks more authentic to Jean Grey than if she's just standing using her telepath abilities. Now with her, it's actually kind of tricky to get her on the stand because she doesn't have a lot of space between her leg and her crotch piece, which is where I usually put the stands unless they have like a cape or something. So she's a little tricky to get on the stand and get to look right because, you know, you can get her on the stand, but then her leg might be kind of kicking out too much or whatever. But we got her up there for now. Next, we got Storm, who ideally I'd like to display with some lightning effects, but she doesn't come with any and I don't have any, so we'll just have to have her like about to use her powers. And I like to have her on the tallest stand because I think she's like the most godlike of the X-Men. So we got her above everyone, right in the middle, and I think she looks really good like that. And then for Nightcrawler, I want to get him into like a teleporting pose, like just came out of teleportation. Now this figure was the first one I wanted once I saw the X-Men 97 Wave 2, because I always wanted the original Nightcrawler and he was so hard to get. And this one, although he's a cartoon figure, he can really pass as a comic figure. I mean, he looks like Nightcrawler from the comics. So I knew I wanted him. I was really excited to get him in. And yeah, I'm using this smiling head sculpt. He comes with two head sculpts, a smiling head sculpt and a like more hostile head sculpt. But I'm going with this like smirking one because I think it's more characteristic to Kurt, and I think it just looks really good. Now he is a little tricky to balance on this stand, and it is going to take a lot of finagling to get him right. And he actually suffers from the opposite problem of Jean, where he actually has like a lot of space between his leg and his crotch piece. And since he has like too much space, there's actually just not a lot of friction there to keep him like still. So if he's not perfectly on the stand, then he'll just like swivel on the stand. But I think we got him pretty good like that. The next 3 figures we're going to pose are Beast, Bishop, and Gambit. They're going to go on like the next level down from the flying characters. And with Beast, I like to always get him in like a low stance, very animalistic. Now, it's important for Beast to have him displayed on like a high shelf, because if he's low, you won't be able to see his face since he doesn't have great head articulation. So that's always important to note when you're displaying Beast. And then with Bishop, he's a pretty cool figure. A lot of people were super hype on him because he had a lot of new sculpt. To me, he looks like the most cartoony, especially in the face, out of like all of these X-Men 97 figures. But he's still pretty cool and definitely a great addition. I don't like the continuation of the stripe through the knee, though. That's one thing that I noticed while posing this figure. But it's no big deal because you can just not pose that knee. Then we got Gambit, my favorite X-Men, alongside Wolverine and Storm. It always goes back and forth. And with him, I love the charged up card accessory that he comes with. I always want to have him posed with that. And the bow staff too, like that. And yeah, with him, I want to have him like in the middle, leaving space between them for Wolverine and Cyclops. So here we got the main man Cyclops and the other main man Wolverine, and we're going to put them in the front. Now, something to note with Wolverine, I do have the X-Men 97 Tiger Stripe Wolverine on pre-order, and when I get him, he's going to replace this figure because he just fits in better aesthetically with the rest of my X-Men. But for now, the brown suit will do. Now, I usually like to pose my Wolverine in like a running, charging his enemy pose. But I kind of just wanted to change it up since I always have him like that. So now I have him like in this wide stance. Now, originally I wanted him with Kurt, with Nightcrawler, because they're like buddies and whatever. But then I realized that since he's short, he'll actually clash less with Jean's feet than Cyclops. So I have him over here on Jean's side. Now, with Cyclops, this figure was super frustrating because in a way it's what I had been waiting for, but it also kind of sucks. And that's because of the head sculpt. Now, I wanted, like as soon as they released the VHS Cyclops, I knew I wanted that figure without the cell shading. I knew they were going to do it eventually. It was just like a given. So I was essentially waiting for this figure, right? But then they released him and they gave him a terrible head sculpt. Like that smiling head sculpt, like I'll never display him with that. Luckily, he came with this alternate head, although I don't really like the optic blast effect that much. So I have him displayed using that head, but without the actual optic blast. So, I mean, it looks okay. Like, yeah, there's a gap in his head, but I can live with it. I still think it looks better than the other head sculpt. We got him in this about to use his optic blast pose with the hand up to the visor. So now that we got all the figures down, let's see what the display looks like. So this is what the display is looking like currently. I definitely see some things I don't like. Like, for example, Nightcrawler needs to be moved a little bit. Yeah. And then I want to see how Cyclops looks in the middle, because I think that makes a lot more sense than Gambit being in the middle. Although, now I can see Gambit is going to clash with Nightcrawler because he's taller. So I'm probably going to move Gambit and Beast. I'm probably going to switch those two. I think that's going to fix a lot of our problems, actually. Yeah, and that's going to look better, too, because I'm going to have Gambit and Bishop, like, on the ends, like, taller characters, and then Beast and Wolverine, like, between them and Cyclops. I think that's actually going to look really good. Now the other changes I want to make are all like posing tweaks. Like I definitely want to change that Wolverine pose. I'm not feeling it. Also Nightcrawler, I think he's gonna need a new pose. And then I also don't like how Jean is up there. So enjoy this time lapse of me posing the figures up with some music. So here it is. Here's the finished X-Men display. And I gotta say, I'm really liking how it turned out. I switched Jean and Nightcrawler, as well as Beast and Wolverine, and I think that just fixed everything. There's no clashing between heads and feet. I think it just looks right. I think every figure has its own space. I like the poses that I was able to get them into. I changed Wolverine's pose, and I think it looks better now. So yeah, so that's the finished display. I hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching. Please let me know down below what you want to see next. And let me know, if you could only keep one, you staying with X-Men 97 or the OG X-Men 92. I think a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but I would stay with X-Men 97. I think they improved upon the OG in every way, and I think we can just leave the other one in the past. Alright, see ya.